Good afternoon. I'm Ann Manat with a Woman's Dharma. Welcome, welcome, all of you from around the world. Today we're going to talk about a woman's work and spirituality. And I'm going to read from my notes to begin with. Usually I don't do that, but I want to be very clear as we lay the groundwork for some of the topics, some of the exciting things we're going to talk about as the month goes on. So let's just start with the basic premise that we were all born and raised in a patriarchal society, meaning the schools, the corporations, probably the households too, that formed us were based on linear principles with hierarchical structures whose focus was to win. That is, to make money, to get good grades, to spread our influence. So many of us, especially the ones in a female body, felt an imbalance. And we started painting. We left society to immerse ourselves in a spiritual practice, or we left work to raise children, and 100 other things that we did to naturally go back to a balanced place. I remember when I first started doing massage after 2 degrees in business and a corporate job, I was rediscovering my body. I was withdrawing my attention from the outside world, withdrawing it from my mind. I needed quiet. I did my massage with candles and soft music in complete silence, no talking. It was a kind of deprogramming, a practice to teach me all of the feminine arts which society did not teach me, my family did not teach me: deep listening, intuition, how to build a community and sustain it, presence, receiving, and connection. You have been on this path with me. Healing the feminine, it's kind of a deep, essential work. I call it cave time. Sometimes there was desert time in there too. And now we're coming back. We're coming out of the caves. We're bringing what we've learned back to the outside world. We're being called to come out, to share what we've learned, to raise our voices in a very public way, maybe to teach, run businesses, and make speeches. How will we do this differently? For me, it was a literal coming back from massage and this nonverbal learning and living in the feminine to having riverbanks, to coming back into a place where I was interacting with people with words and trying to make a difference, trying to build something. At first, something that actually had cement walls, and now it's more esoteric because it's housed on a website. So I want to start with some basics. And one of those basics is that we have some false beliefs. I definitely had some false beliefs about how I had to do this and what it looked like. And I would bounce between what I knew and learned in school and what I know works as far as promoting myself and my message and my business, and creating a new way. So this is a deep topic and there's lots to talk about, but let's first talk about a few of our false beliefs. Now, so you can understand what a false belief is in this context, let's talk about a couple that are very common and we won't go over too much here. One is that money is bad. That can be a very non-business, maybe you call it feminine, I don't know, way of looking at success and money in the world. And lots of people have worked with that, and so we're not going to think about that one too much. Secondly, how about sales has to be inauthentic, or it's icky, or I don't like it, or It's just not right in some way. Many of us are moving through this and getting away from those things. But what's deeper? As I've worked with coaching women from all over the world, I've come up with just a few so far, and there are more, but let's start with 3. Let's just put them out there, and then we'll go on in our next video or interview or exercise. We're going to be working with these things deeply. I'm going to be working with them deeply and bringing you as many resources as possible. So a very deep, first, essential false belief that I see in especially women who are trying to bring the feminine, or let's just say some balance, into work and speeches and teaching and courses, is that you have to change who you are being. This one, in my mind, is most important because in the feminine essence, in a way of making a difference in the world that's not strictly patriarchal and formed in the way that our societies are today, who you are, how you are doing what you are doing is the most important thing. So let me say that again. It is not what you are doing. It is not that list of 100 things that you have to get done that is going to make the difference. Let's just breathe that in. They might be the exact same things. Maybe you still have to create a bank account for your business. Maybe you still have to go out and sell and actually market yourselves. It is how you are holding the space and the energy of who you truly are that makes a difference. So the steps of how to do it might be exactly the same. It is who you are being that is different. And we know this. A woman can walk into a room and change everything. So can a man. But we're talking about women right now, talking to women. It wasn't the march with millions of people. You see afterwards everyone said, well, what was the message? The march itself was the message. Showing up with your body, in your body, and moving down the street was the message. Now, if this idea is new to you, I understand if it sounds undefined. We're not going to try to define it too solidly because that would just be my opinion. We're going to explore together. Let's say, I wonder how who I am being is more important than how I am doing or what I'm doing. Let's hold that as we go forward. So you don't have to be someone different. As a matter of fact, please be this juicy, essential woman that you've found in your practices over the years. Maybe that's enough right there. So another false belief that we have, that we were taught as we were enculturated into this patriarchal society, is that productivity is linear. Productivity is linear. So, we have this idea that the hours worked, the amount of effort put in, is what brings us the result. That getting things done is the only measure of progress. And it's difficult to carve out that time to set boundaries and say, no, I'm walking today, I'm breathing, I'm communing with a different plane. And then when I take my sharpened sword, I know it's a little bit of a harsh metaphor, but I think of the Zen priests, or the Shaolin priests, I think I'm thinking of. And if you come from that centered place, then you awaken and make one strike, and then you go back. And this is how simple it can be if we understand manifestation in this way. The last thing I want to talk about as far as false beliefs, and we're just beginning. I hope you share with me your false beliefs that you might have had or that you've noticed in this realm. And the third one is that you can create a business or even a fulfilling life solely in your feminine. We have to reclaim the masculine. We have to make friends with him again. We have to love the men in our lives. And, you know, if the feminine is the river, the flow, then the masculine is the riverbanks. And so when we come back into the world to create on this plane, we need balance. And so what we're looking for is a woman's way of doing it, not necessarily that masculine, feminine balance. And that sounds obvious when I say it out loud. But if you're getting stuck, if you're having a hard time moving forward, if you're not able to give a speech on the level that you'd like to, if you're not reaching very many clients, whatever it is that feels like it's holding you back, maybe you've retreated to that cave. Maybe you've given up or need to develop your masculine movement in the world. When it dances with the feminine in this way, it won't feel dry like it did the first time around, I promise you. I have the same struggle. Okay, well, that's just an introduction to what we're going to be talking about. That gives you a bit of groundwork on what comes next. And for the next month, I'm going to be bringing speakers in, or maybe somebody to interview. I might come up with some surveys for you. Please stay connected to your email and watch for the next video where we'll go more deeply into this subject. And if you haven't signed up yet, I'm sure there's a link on this page somewhere where you can put your email in, even if you're on my larger list, because I won't be sending all these little pieces out to everyone. I don't want to bother them with too much in their inbox. All right, thank you for joining me for this time today, and go out and make a difference. Stay who you are.